We begin with healthcare in Nigeria to ensure efficient, transparent, accountable management of external grants mobilized towards the implementation of Nigeria's health sector renewal investment initiative. President Bola Tinubu has approved the establishment of a sector-wide coordinating office program management unit, SCOPMU, domiciled in the office of the coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare. Take a look at the roadmap for healthcare. It's to be recalled that the Nigeria Health Sector Renewal Investment Initiative, NHSRII, was unveiled December 12, 2023, following the adoption of that sector-wide policy by the National Council on Health in November of 2023. Now, the sector-wide coordinating programming management unit will report to a steering committee and ministerial oversight committee chaired by the minister, including the Minister of State, Permanent Secretary, Minister of Finance, Minister of Budget and Economic Planning, and relevant development partners. How far can this go in improving healthcare investments in Nigeria? Joining us to discuss further from Manchester in the United Kingdom is Obinna Ukachukwu. He's a growth executive at Sterling Bank. Obinna, good morning to you. Great to have you on the show. So to kick things off, what do you make of this health investment initiative from the presidency?
Morning, Reuters. Thanks for having me on board. I think it's a good initiative, at least on the surface of it. It will try to deal with the fragmentation that we have in healthcare delivery and healthcare services in the country. So the fact that the government is thinking of converging or is already implementing a converged approach to managing and growing healthcare services, it's great. In fact, I remembered when the social welfare was added to the Ministry of Health. I gave a real thumbs up because both of them are interlinked. And if you see everything the government have been doing since then, it's actually, I think I like the fact that we're coming into one pool. The fact that it's even health is even making your business report session in a rise tells you that I think on the surface everything looks okay and we're in the right direction. I actually like the fact that it's going to break the fragmentation, both in strategy, in fund mobilization, and in projects.
Thank you for that. Yeah, I mean, look, healthcare is a big business, particularly insurance, and I want to talk to you about that. Now, they've apparently said they've raised mobilized about $2.2 billion in external funding. How much of that, Obinna, should be geared towards funding health insurance for out-of-pocket, for costs?
Very difficult question to ask someone like me because I actually think that any investment in healthcare in Nigeria today, in any developing country that doesn't lead from insurance is a waste. Because no matter, I wouldn't put a percentage to 2.2 billion. I think the reason I wouldn't do that is if you think that if we think that a health insurance for an individual is maybe 15,000 naira, then the 2.2 billion will go into providing health insurance for 200 million Nigerians. It's just about that. But what I'll say generally is any application of that fund that is not led by health insurance is a waste. Because if you invest in equipment, invest in the infrastructure, invest in, of course, building and revamping the primary healthcare systems, the question is, who is going to serve them? The major problem, the reason why we've got all these things dilapidated is that you don't have the people serving them there. And that's because there's no working capital to keep the people there. What keeps the people there is the insurance, the ability of people to pay for services when they need the service. So I'll tell you, the initiative or whatever initiative will be dead on arrival if it's not primarily driven by the ability of people to pay for the services sustainably when they need it. And that's something I think we should go home from here with. If it's not led by insurance, led by a scheme that enables that the people that would use these services can pay for it when they're sick, then it will just be a waste.
Okay, perfect. That comment perfectly sets up for my next question to you. Now, this is from the group CEO of GTCO, Segun Agbaje, at their facts behind the figures at the NGX. This was about 4 weeks ago, where he was, they have a public offer and so on and so forth. He did say that insurance for now is not viable. I want to play that clip because we played it when he said it. I want to play it again for everyone, play it for you as well. I want to get your reaction.
I hope the insurance people won't kill me. We used to have an insurance company, as you know, AXA Man said. Maybe in the future, I don't think insurance is viable now from an investment standpoint. When I look at even the profit, all these small babies we started in the last 2 years are making more money than maybe the most profitable insurance company. So again, we're not going to use your capital just because. So the time for insurance has not come, but the good thing about the structure we have is that when the time comes, we'll go in.
All right, so he's saying for now, but he says when the time comes. So I want to get put you on the spot and get your reaction to those comments.
I'll have to be quite careful because it's all with the same industry. But he's talking primarily on profit, and that's relative profitability when compared to banking and maybe the arbitrage profits that banks and financial institutions make. But if he talks from impact, if he thinks about the value of investing in the society that you serve, if you think about the overall return on impact for building a viable insurance culture and service in the country, then I bet you it's time for every single business that aggregates a large number of people to pushing the insurance culture. It's not just about the profit. So I think he was being quite niche when he says profit. And he didn't say it's not profitable. He says relative profitability. Now, if we're not going to eat the goose and the egg, then we've got to build the market. And to build the market we serve, we've got to do everything to enable people that are pushing the insurance culture, people that are pushing the insurance services, if possible, begin to bundle products that ensures that insurance gets across to the millions of people we serve, especially those of us in the banking sector. I think it will be foolhardy for us to think that or not to invest in building this pool and this risk mitigation industry for our communities and for the country. That's actually what I'll say about it. If I wasn't too diplomatic.
No, you weren't. You nailed it. You nailed it. And thanks for mentioning the fact that he's talking about the niche part of it. But I do want to ask you about what you folks are doing with insurance. Is low-cost insurance the way to go? And I want to know whether relative to the cost of care and the cost of medications and so on, if it's viable. So tell us what you're doing and tell us if it's viable for the current market.
The reason why insurance might look as if it's not valuable is that insurance is a game of numbers. You need a lot of people to get into insurance to be paying premiums or someone contributing for them for the system to make a lot of sense. Now, when we invest in healthcare or we enable any development in health infrastructure, buying equipment or whatever it is, we always ask and say, how is it going to be paid for? So we look at the demand side and the supply side. You might have seen what we're doing with the Lagos State government and Lagos State Health Management Agency, where we decided to invest in getting health boots into the markets and into the motor parks where people work. You know, the logic was that the primary health centers are probably out of the market and where people stay, and most people go to the markets to earn a living. When they're sick, they don't want to go back home, because if they go home, they lose their daily pay for that particular day, and it causes their sicknesses to deteriorate and, of course, become quite expensive to manage when they deteriorate. So we decided to bring in this infrastructure into the market. The question is, how will the infrastructure be spent? So we can bring the infrastructure if you're not going to tie it into the health insurance for the state. So to get into the service, to use the service, you've got to be part of the state health insurance. So that's how we tie it together. Now, to enable people to pay for this insurance, we have decided to break it into bits. Premiums are usually underwritten per annum, but we said you can pay monthly, you can pay weekly, we'll get to the point where you can even pay daily. And that's to the cost of insurance where you asked. The cost of insurance is not necessarily the problem. It's matching the payment for the premium to how people earn their living. So if someone earns his living on a daily pay, then he should have an insurance that he can pay on a daily. Now, if you take 50 naira or 100 naira a day, it's about 3,000. If you multiply it by 12, it's 36,000. It can buy any individual any good insurance, a well-written insurance plan in Nigeria. So it's about using our understanding of microcredits and how finance works to make sure that people across different strata, can pay for insurance. And I believe that if every party that understands retail credit, retail risk, micro risk, decide to start underwriting insurance premium and distributing this service across the portfolio, across a huge number of clients that we serve, the insurance pool will grow significantly, and automatically the cost of care will dip, because there will be people that invest, or people will put capital behind manufacturing, behind production of equipment locally, because they know that these things would have off takers, because people now have the ability to pay. So it's linked, but we must start from the basics, which is create the ability for people to use these services. We do not invest in services when we do not think about the insurance. In Cross River is what we're doing. We're enabling insurance in Bayelsa, in a lot of places, because we know that the secret to a sustainable healthcare system is enabling people to be able to pay when they're sick.
Fantastic. That's okay. So I guess that's on the demand side. What about the supply side? Hospitals in Nigeria spending billions importing expensive hospital equipment. They've got to charge, excuse the pun, since we're talking healthcare, an arm and a leg to recoup their investment. Can we agree that healthcare is, because of inflation and cost of doing business, is getting more expensive in Nigeria? How do we mitigate for that?
So again, the reason healthcare looks as if it's expensive is that we sort of only cater to people that are sick. Only people that are sick. When people are sick, that's when they contribute to the health pool. Now, if everyone contributes to the health pool through some form of aggregation, then the unit cost of delivering healthcare to people when they're sick goes down. Now, that said, I think one of the major challenges private institutions have in the country is, again, this fragmentation thing. You see someone across the road, he has an MRI scanner. The person opposite him wants to invest in so much money to get the MRI scanner. And the person is buying one other huge equipment because the person behind him has the equipment. These things they're totally useless. If you've invested $1 million to buy the same equipment that someone across the road has, both of you will just split the clients that really don't exist. Now, if you look at healthcare expenditure, if we sort of take care of the 80%, the 90% of of the cases, which is usually outpatient, basic issues, basic diseases, then it will pay for the margins we make there will pay for the bigger occurrences. So it's because of the lopsided nature of how we've organized our health system. Again, the fragmented nature. That's why it looks so expensive. If I import an equipment for $1 million and I have only five clients, of course I'll divide I'll bill them for 5. But if I've got 30, then I'll bill for 30. The unit cost drops down. So beyond government, what we're doing in the private sector is to see how we can sort of pull people together to say, hey, you've got to complement yourselves. If you've got this equipment here, you don't need it here. If you've got this investment here, you don't need it here. You've got to serve, pull your clients together and serve in certain expertise, sort of become niche and refer people across. I think that's the major challenge, and not necessarily the increasing cost of equipment.
Fantastic stuff. Obinna Ukachukwu, Growth Executive at Sterling Bank. Thank you for a very informative discussion on Nigeria's healthcare sector. Thank you so much for your insights.